Line 3, Pythagorean theorem. This is probably the easiest lesson in this whole thing. You guys know what Pythagorean theorem is, yeah?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
I'm not that smart.
I know what it is.
Peter.
A squared plus b squared equals c.
Yes, which I'd like to point out during the Wizard of Oz last week, they quoted it wrong because it's meant to be that way.
Let's try.
Yeah.
Triangle.
The PVC thing.
Yes, because it's not an isosceles triangle, it's of a right triangle.
Oh.
So Pythagorean
Oh.
theorem applies to right triangles, okay? If I take a right triangle, I have two things called legs, okay? And I have something called a hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is always across from the right angle, okay? And the right angle is always marked with this little box. That's how I know. So my hypotenuse is across from the right angle and the other two sides are called legs. Got it?
We learned this last year.
Yeah, I'm just
We
reviewing.
did. Yeah.
I have no
Remember?
clue what we learned last
Guys.
You
year.
said the hypotenuse is always across from the right angle last year.
Focus for me. Hey, focus for me.
Okay.
Focus for me. Okay? Carter, who sits next to you usually? No one?
No one.
Okay, good.
So,
Okay, so then here's what we do. Each leg is labeled with an A or a B. It really doesn't matter which order, but A and B. Okay, A and B. And our hypotenuse is C. So we get the Pythagorean theorem by saying A squared plus B squared equals C squared.
oh.
So when I add the squares of the two legs together, it should equal the square of the hypotenuse. Okay?
Ooh.
A squared plus B squared equals C squared. That's how we get Pythagorean theorem. Okay? So then we get problems like this. It says the William H. Harsha Bridge is a cable stayed bridge that spans the Ohio River between Maysville, Kentucky and Aberdeen, Ohio. About how long is the cable shown in red? So they want to know how long is this cable right here? If this is the bridge, because bridges are often made with triangles because it's one of the strongest structures.
Truss bridge.
Okay, if that is a bridge, how can I figure out what the length of that suspension is? Yes, Sonia.
You could do 221 squared
Uh-huh,
plus 478 squared
uh-huh.
equals x equals c squared.
Okay, equals c squared, x squared, whatever it is in this problem. Okay, very good, because my hypotenuse is here, they tell me that. I know that this is my C side. These two sides are A and B because they're my legs. Okay, so then this is where I would probably take out a calculator, because do you know what 221 squared is off the top of your head?
No.
Me either.
That's a
73.
big number.
So 221 squared, I get,
37.
no, I have no idea.
73.
48,841.
I was close.
11. Wait.
What?
And then 478 squared. Okay, equals c squared. So c squared equals, those two things add together, yes?
That's really it.
I hope so.
Well, we're getting there.
Oh,
Almost-
okay.
You're almost
Yeah,
there.
we
Okay.
totally.
Last year.
Okay, now let's talk about this. I want to know the length of this. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Is that c squared? Is
No.
this?
No.
No, it's what?
See ya.
It's just c.
Yeah, you're the most.
Right now, I have c squared equals, not c equals. How do I get rid of that square?
Don't you like square like that number?
What, Hannah?
You have to put the square in your calculator, the radical in it.
Yeah, I gotta take the radical of both sides. So I need to take the square root of both sides. To get rid of that square, you take the square root, correct? Here, this cancels, yes. What's the square root of 277,325?
I have no
I don't know.
It's
Well.
355.1.
Okay, yes, what'd you say?
She said 355.
Really? That's what I put in.
Which one?
Yeah.
Second.
On my
I do not remember us doing this part last year.
377.
Why do you have 1,200?
We weren't doing geometry.
I got it. I just
We're not doing
526.
Me too.
526.6165.
Here's your problem. Here's your problem. Okay, listen, Hannah made a mistake that we're gonna run into, and that's fine, but I need to correct it. Okay, she put 221 squared plus 278 squared without parentheses in her calculator and added them together. So it gave her 126,125. Is that what I got when I did it individually?
No.
No. If you're gonna put it into your calculator this way, you have to put parenthesis, 221 squared parenthesis, plus parenthesis, 220, or 278 squared parentheses, okay? It should be 478 also, not
Wait.
278.
Um,
So you have to use parentheses for it to work. What?
how do you,
How do
It's the
you,
second
that's
button.
that,
You ready for this one?
what?
that's the squared part.
The squared part is what's above the x squared, the square root. It's called taking the radical. It's not a square, it's a square root.
Miss Peters?
Yes.
What place do you want to, do you
Let's
want us
round
to
to
round
one,
it
place value, what did you get?
526.6.
526.6, what is this? What unit of measure?
Feet.
Yes, do not forget units of measure, I will mark your test wrong,
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
okay? So that suspension is about 526.6 feet long, okay? And this is how we can solve
Is that it?
these lovely things.
That's it for that.
That's
problem.
really not bad.
Yo, I've never seen something more easier in math this time.
We did this last year, I know it for a fact, but.
I don't remember
No,
that
we
for
did
a
not.
fact.
No, we did not.
We
Guys,
did one with people.
Time out, I know for a fact you did part of this
We
last
did,
year.
this, but I don't remember us doing like that.
It's the same concept, okay.
I know we did.
Now,
it for
over
people.
here. What is it that I'm trying to find in that green triangle?
Hey.
A, so how do I set it up, Bree?
What?
B, well, 10 plus, well, yeah, 10
No.
plus,
Nope, what
She's
Matthew?
right.
no?
A squared plus 10 squared
Yeah,
equals 12.
12
Equals 12
squared.
squared.
12
I said
squared. Okay, this one I don't need a calculator, what's 10 squared?
100.
What's 12 squared?
144.
How do I solve from here?
Wait,
Oh.
don't you subtract
Subtract what?
100?
144.
No,
No, 100.
subtract
100.
100. Cause listen, I want the variable always by itself, Sonia, calm down.
Okay.
So subtract 100, yes?
Mm-hmm.
And what do you get when you subtract 100 from 144?
44.
Now what do you have to do?
Do the little reciprocal thing.
Radical.
Like the radical thing, sorry.
You have to take the square root of both sides, yes?
Yep.
What's the square root of 44?
22.
There's no screw.
Oh, listen, I don't want a decimal answer this time, so how do I want you to do it?
Well, if you had to divide it by 11.
Listen, you're close. Yes, Hannah, but I want a more specific
Oh, you
answer.
want the tree thing.
I want the tree thing.
But-
Yeah.
Hold a
Wait, no,
factor
what is
tree.
So hey, stop yelling over me
Okay.
and listen for a minute. In your book, it's going to want you to not give them a decimal answer. Okay? When it's numbers like this. When it's numbers like this, I don't care because I'm not gonna do a factor tree with 277,000, blah, 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 okay? When it's numbers that are in the hundreds place, I'm gonna do a factor tree, or maybe even if it's 1,000, I'm gonna do a factor tree or something like that. So when I give my answer, I do not want decimal answers. Here's what the instruction says. Find the unknown length in simplest form. When it says simplest form, I do not want decimal answers. I want it in radical form still. So how do I do that, Carter? Factor tree, what goes into here?
Oh, I got it, I got that.
What, Bree?
2 and,
2 and 22? What else?
2 and 11.
2 and 11. So what can I take outside of that factor tree?
2.
2. And then what stays inside?
11.
And do I have to put plus or minus on this?
No.
Why?
Because
we're
we're not
doing
doing
simplest
that.
form one.
Because, nope, that's not why. Why?
Oh.
We're not doing that.
Nope, that's not why either. I've always said you always give me plus or minus when it's like this. But why is it not a minus in this case?
Because it's radical? No.
No,
because
Because there's
it's
no,
form.
why is there no negatives, Carter? What am I
We're doing
finding?
Pythagorean theorem. I mean,
What am I
The actual
Pythagorean-
answer?
Yeah.
Simplest form.
No, that's not why. Simplest form can give me plus or minus.
A. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like,
Great, yes, I'm finding A. But what type of thing is A?
positive.
It's positive.
Why is it positive?
It's a right
Because
answer.
I don't know, it's
So-
positive.
Because both of those are positive.
Wow.
Nope, listen. I am technically, even though there is not a unit of measure here, I would just say units, right? I am finding a length of something, right?
Oh, yeah, no, you can't go like negative.
Can I have a negative
No.
length?
Yeah.
No.
No.
There would be no
That's why I know that I do not use a plus or minus here. Because on our other homework, when it said solve in simplest form, I gave a plus or minus answer when I was just taking radicals and using factor trees. Here, I'm finding a length. Even if it doesn't have a unit of measurement, I'm still finding a length because I would say 2 radical 11 units. Okay? So you have to pay attention to what you're finding. If you're finding lengths, unless it says below sea level or at a negative drop or something like that, then I use negatives. But for the most part, when I'm using lengths, which for the most part, when you guys are using lengths, you're gonna have positive answers. Okay? So in simplest form does not mean decimal, it means what?
Whole number.
The,
Positive.
It means I'm using a radical still if it doesn't come out evenly, right? So simplest form, I better not see decimal answers on your homework tonight. Simplest form means you use a factor tree and you take stuff out of it, got it?
Oh,
Got it.
Okay, now, here's the other way that you're gonna see stuff on your homework tonight. It's gonna say determine if the triangle is a right triangle. How can you decide if something is a right triangle?
Oh,
Yes.
If it's right
equal to
angle.
90.
They had
Nope.
hypotenuse
If it
pointing
was a
down
right angle on
the
Time out. Do you see a triangle drawn up here?
No.
No, so can you tell if it has a right angle in it?
No.
No, which is what both Carter and Mia were getting at. If it has a 90-degree angle, it's a right triangle. Well, yeah, but there's nothing here that shows a triangle, so how am I gonna figure that out?
Okay,
The-
so
the-
plus
the-
b
the
squared equals c squared?
hypotenuse.
You plug those
Good.
numbers in?
Yes, Matthew, you're getting there, Caleb.
Okay.
I'm gonna use the Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. So if I plug in a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and I plug those numbers in, and they equal the c squared, then guess what I have?
Square.
A right triangle. I have a right triangle. If they do not equal it, do I have a right triangle?
No.
No. So I'm gonna start by saying 3 squared plus 5 squared equals,
7
Seven
squared.
what's 3 squared?
6.
9. What's 5 squared?
25.
What's 7 squared?
49.
What's 25 and 9 together?
34.
Does 34 equal 49?
No. It's not.
So it is not a right triangle,
Okay, that makes sense.
okay? And this is how we're figuring things out. Got it?
This is hard.
Oh,
This
the
is
delta.
not hard at all.
No.
Magic.
You can write no.
Dude, this is the best
Okay,
day
what
ever.
do I do next? How do I solve this one?
A squared plus b squared.
We write a
So-
squared plus b squared.
So set it up for me.
15 squared
Plus
15
8
plus
squared
8 squared equals 17 squared.
What is 15 squared?
225.
No, 30.
225, good, that's one of the ones we have to know for tomorrow. What's 8 squared?
64.
64.
And what is 17 squared?
289.
Good.
What's that?
What is 225 plus 264? Oh, no. Well, add it up.
289.
Yeah, because 5 and 4 is 9, right? 6 and 2 is
Oh,
8.
it is 289.
So is
so
this a
yeah.
right triangle?
Yeah.
We have found the right triangle.
Yeah,
That's
Okay.
really it.
that's really it.
That's
I
really
love how we're
easy.
starting our quarters with something so easy. Watch it like turn out on us
No,
really
it
bad.
won't get super hard.
It will get super hard.
Okay, so Pythagorean theorem, leg squared plus leg squared equals hypotenuse squared. And my hypotenuse is always opposite of my
Wait.
Right
Uh,
triangle.
right
I'm
angle.
right.
My right angle. Okay, I set up Pythagorean theorem. If it is a huge number, go ahead and plug it in your calculator. If it says solve in simplest form, I'm putting it in what form at the end?
Radical.
Radical form, okay? If it is a distance, I don't put plus or minus, okay? But it's just gonna be positive. And then over here, if I'm determining something is a right triangle, I set it up as a squared plus b squared equals c squared. If it comes out to be true, I got me a right triangle. If it's not, false. Got it?
Can I take a picture?
Yes, give me one. Let me give you some
Do you want my
homework.